AITAH, 50M, for wanting to divorce my wife, 45F, because she caused me to go to the ER. The author of the post is listed in the description. Bit long, sorry in advance. I now see how easy it is when writing down your thoughts, as I always wondered why people wrote so much. So my wife, 45F, and I, 50M, have been married for almost 20 years. We have a 16-year-old daughter, and life has been pretty good. We've had our ups and downs like any marriage, but we work together through it. We have even done MC a couple of times to get ourselves on the right track. Mostly IRL stuff and feeling like roommates. When it comes to household chores, I've always cleaned the house, as I'm a bit OCD with cleaning due to growing up in a house with roaches as a kid. She takes care of the laundry, and we split making dinners on days I'm off, as I work 12 hours a day, 4 days a week. Kiddo takes care of the dishes. So herein lies the issue. The wife is going through perimenopause. She's been super emotional and a bit unlike herself for the last 6 months or so. She is taking meds to help even out her hormones, but it's taking time. One day she is overly nice, the next day complaining about every little thing and getting all bent out of shape. So yesterday morning was one of her bad days. I forgot to set up the coffee pot to make coffee in the morning. When I went down, she was all bent out of shape over it. I tried my normal tactic of apologizing, as I had a migraine and went to bed early and just forgot. Told her I would make coffee in a bit, as I just woke up and needed a little bit to get the morning fog out of my head. Typical thing for me in the morning. She didn't like this answer, so as I went to sit on the couch, she threw her coffee cup at me, causing it to smash into my head, breaking and splitting my head open. At first I was pissed that she actually threw something at me like WTF, but then felt liquid, blood obviously as I couldn't see it, going down my neck. I put my hand on it, pulled it back, thinking it was coffee, then saw the blood. Of course, at the sight of this, my wife all of a sudden freaked out, screamed at my daughter to get a towel, all the while apologizing to me and crying, stating she was sorry. We headed to the ER and had our daughter drive, as wife couldn't, as she was a hot mess. Luckily, it wasn't so deep that it needed stitches, and they used that glue stuff. The thing is, I had a rough childhood, home life. I was physically abused by my mom all the way up until I left at 18. My wife knows this, and when she did what she did, it brought back all those memories so long ago forgotten. I love my wife, but I swore to myself that I would never be in a place where I'd be abused ever again. And now I don't know if I would be the AH if I file for divorce because of this. I know her hormones are partially to blame, but also know she's an adult and responsible for her actions. I guess I'm just looking for advice, wondering if I decide to leave. Maybe I just needed to vent a little, too. Update. First, I want to thank everyone for your responses. When I first posted, I thought I would get just a few replies. Obviously, I got way more than a few and was just overwhelmed by the sheer volume of comments. So never replied, but I did my best to read them all. However, working 12-hour days doesn't leave me much free time. So before the update, figured I'd answer some questions that everyone asked. My daughter and I are safe, so thank you again for your worries and concerns. My wife has never had anger issues or thrown stuff ever. Not to say she hasn't yelled or lost her temper, normal when we've had arguments, as we all do. However, she does have depression and anxiety, and takes meds for those as well. Sorry if my post made it seem like I was making excuses for her. I was and am not. She's an adult and responsible for her actions. Also, some people mentioned I gave pointless info in the first few paragraphs. I figured it was best to point out that her actions wasn't due to me being a lazy husband. Okay, on to the bit long update. So after posting here, I took some time to cool off, as I clearly was still mad about the situation. I took my daughter and we went for a drive. We talked about this issue and asked her how she felt. Much like most of the responses here, we agreed that it would be a good idea to leave the house for a bit until her mom, my wife's mental issues have been resolved, meds adjusted. We headed back home and I asked my wife to come down so we could have a family meeting, as she'd been hiding in our bedroom since we came home from the hospital. She came down and clearly feels awful, looked like she hadn't stopped crying since the incident. We both hugged her and told her we loved her, but we needed to talk. I told her for at least this week and maybe next week we were going to stay at my sister's place. She could stay in the house as she works from home and can't go into the office. She started to cry again, so waited for her to compose herself and finished. I let her know what she did was abuse. I reminded her of my childhood and that although this was outside of her normal behavior, it has caused a rift in our marriage. But I was willing to give her this one-time pass. However, she has to go see her doctor like yesterday. Tell her everything that happened, everything she was feeling, not to sugarcoat anything so that her doctor can get her the right meds so that this never happens again. As many of you mentioned, it would be dumb of me to throw away 20 yards for a one-time fuck-up. When I posted, I was still pretty pissed. Although it was a huge fuck-up, I think it's something we can work through. I told her that we need to set up an appointment with a MC, editor's note, marriage counselor, again. That this is going to take work on both our parts to move forward. I also told her that if she ever did anything like that again, I would file for divorce and take our daughter with me. That her and my safety was my #1 priority. She apologized several times during the talk. She tried telling us that she's all messed up with her hormones and the meds, and she didn't mean to. That when she threw it, it was like as soon as it left her hands, she knew she fucked up. I let her know that we understand she's going through a lot, but that her hormonal issues are never an excuse for acting out and intentionally throwing stuff at me. That she's an adult and she's responsible for her own actions. Blaming it on hormones or meds or other BS wasn't going to cut it. I did get a bit heated at this point. She at least acknowledged this and apologized again. So this is where we are at this point. We are at my sister's place now as I write this. Sorry again for the stupidly long post. Again, thank you all you internet strangers for taking the time to read and comment. It allowed me to vent and also get some clarity. OOP's commenter. Maybe you should go to her doctor's appointment with her so you can tell the doctor what's happening from your perspective. It will force her to be completely honest and you can give your input as well. OOP, I plan to, thanks. Okay, next story. 18-year-old boyfriend, 16-year-old girlfriend. Throwaway account having a bit of an issue here. My son just turned 18 and is senior in high school. His girlfriend is 16 and a junior. They have been together for 3 years now, and her parents and my wife and I have always had a great relationship. Several dinners together, family outings, etc. She will be 17 in 1 month. Now, to the issue. The girlfriend's father had been out of work for several months. I fought hard to get him hired on at my job. He started strong but fizzled out, called in multiple times, didn't complete the training, and was terminated for it. Apparently, I was supposed to fight for him to keep his job, however, I had already vouched for him to get it in the first place. That's when the tension began. No more dinners together or talking, texting between our wives. My wife and I made the decision to reach out to try to make amends, however, we got frantic texts from our son about the police being at the school. Apparently, the father filed a police report on my son due to him being 18. We're in Texas. For context, where the age of consent is 17, our whole family is completely appalled by this and hurt. This is something that could potentially change my son's future. We have contacted a lawyer already and have a consultation tomorrow. However, I'm wondering if talking to the father might help. Maybe it will hurt? His girlfriend will not answer calls or texts from my son. He believes she has blocked his number. I'm not sure if this was the right place to post this, but any and all advice is appreciated. Sorry for the long post, small note, update. I thank everyone that has commented support and advice. We had a good family meeting and concluded no contact with her or the father for the time being. Our meeting with the lawyer is early in the morning, so I will update after. My son seems to be in better spirits, obviously still very shaken. Relevant comments. Ages they started dating. 15, 14, then he turned 16 not long after. Romeo and Juliet law. I just read up on this, thank you very much. I will be sure to tell my son this, he's been a wreck since we came home. These exchanges. Commenter, don't stress. As long as they don't have sex for a month, it won't matter. Tell your son he doesn't have to talk with the police, even if they tell him he has to. If they ask any questions, he is allowed to use his Fifth Amendment right to stay silent. And he should stay silent. They would need to be caught in the act to get arrested, or for her to get pregnant. OOP. Apparently, because he's 18, we were not required to be notified. The officer even went as far as to tell him he could not use his phone. Thankfully, he was able to send me several texts before the interrogation. Commenter. I would definitely have an issue with the school. Yes, as an 18-year-old, the police don't have guardianship notification requirements. But at school, don't you still have guardianship privileges? Oopie. This was an issue I brought up. It was the school resource officer that pulled him into his office. Apparently, at that point in time, the school was unaware. Commenter. The hardest part is that your son was in a good relationship, and a brick wall has been put up to rip out his heart. And that is cruel by that girl's dad. But your son can't contact his girlfriend as now he can be charged with harassment. Oopie. And that part tears me to shreds. She was literally a part of the family. He loves her so much. Update. We finished up with the lawyer, showed him all proof of the relationship being 3 years old, etc. He was extremely confident this will be dropped by the DA. There have been no explicit pictures between my son and the girl, thankfully not even explicit text messages. Apparently, the girl has always had a strong fear of her dad seeing something he didn't like and retaliating. My son actually has texts from her stating such, "Good for my son." The wife has reached out to my wife this morning stating this was a misunderstanding and that her husband simply asked the SRO about the legality of an 18-year-old and 16-year-old. We believe this is a lie and obviously have not responded. I did bring up countersuit to the lawyer and he is firmly on board. I will update as much as I can as this progresses. My family knows about this post and are okay with it. As my wife said, if this can help someone else that's been put in this position, all the better. I will leave you with this. For the first time since my son was a small child, I put him to bed last night. I hugged him, told him I love him, tucked him in, and sat with him as he fell asleep. This has completely broken him, and I will never forgive or forget these actions. Final update. Sorry, everyone, I have not been on Reddit for a few days. All charges have been dropped. As many mentioned, the Romeo and Juliet law came into play. My son supplied all evidence of the past relationship, before he was 18, and the girlfriend spoke up to state they had been in a 3-year relationship. As far as any lawsuit goes, my son just wants this all dropped and forgotten about. I agree. We blocked the parents on everything when this began and do not intend on unblocking. Next month, the daughter turns 17, and my son fully intends on continuing the relationship with her. As his parent, I'm extremely wary of this, but as he is 18, he can make his own choices. Okay, next story. AITAH for believing my daughter over a grown man? I don't know if I watch too many crime shows or if I'm just paranoid, so I've come here to ask. Last week, I made chicken gnocchi soup. When it was almost done, I started helping my daughter with a school project. She got us both a bowl, and a few seconds later, my BF runs into the room with a bowl and tells me to eat the bowl he has. I told him it was all the same, and he insisted that he wanted mine because it had more chicken. Thinking back now, I don't know how he would know that, considering my daughter dished it out. My daughter took the bowl he gave me and said she would eat it. He yanked it out of hand and said, "No, it's for Mom." I took the bowl and he went to the living room. I continued doing my daughter's project and told her not to eat the soup. 20-ish minutes later, I walked into the kitchen to pour the soups out, and he was still eating his. He asked why we didn't eat any, and I said the cat got into it while we were waiting for it to cool down. He screamed, "What? Was it your bowl? Cats can't eat that?" I told him it was only a lick, but he has been stressed out watching the cat like a hawk, obsessive even. His reaction was very weird. These accidents all happened before the soup incident over the span of 6 months. It wasn't one after another in a short period of time. Since then, my emergency money has gone missing. I keep money hidden just in case. I lost my older sister because she wasn't able to escape a dangerous situation, and I literally swore on her grave I would never be in that position. After the soup incident, I went to get my money and it was gone. It was hidden, and I changed the location every few months. I asked my daughter if maybe she found it and that if she took it, I wouldn't be mad because I knew she couldn't have spent it. She said no. A few hours later, she tells me she forgot, but the other day her and my BF got pulled over and she saw my pink wallet in his glove box. I did not tell her which wallet it was in or that it was in a wallet. I decided to ask him if he found it by accident. He asked me why I was hiding a large amount of money. "You know you could never leave me," and laughed. He has never said anything like that before. I told him it was for my daughter's Christmas. He said no, he didn't find the money but could use his credit card for gifts. I didn't tell him about my daughter seeing my wallet in his car. Now, here are a few other things that have happened in the past few months that seemed random at the time, but now they don't. I have a severe allergy to latex. One day, we were about to have sex, and I glanced at the mirror we have by our bed, and saw the condom wrapper was a different color. I stopped him because it wasn't latex-free, and he said it was a mistake and just an older one he had. We have been dating for over 2 years, and he knows how serious my allergy is. My EpiPen that I keep in my room is missing, and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it was missing until I was searching for my money. Another odd thing is, one day he was following me down the stairs while I was carrying laundry, and he kicked the back of my leg and I fell. He said he slipped, but the stairs are wood and he was wearing his steel toe boots. At the time, I thought it was an accident. Am I overthinking this? My anxiety has been at an all-time high. Do I watch too much true crime? Here is why I think I might be the asshole. We have a good relationship. He loves my daughter like she is his. We split all shared bills and we both pull our own weight around the apartment. We don't fight. He has never so much as raised his voice at me. We are paycheck to paycheck, but bills are paid. I thought about going to my mom's house for a few days and asking him when I get there when I'm safe about the money, but I don't have money to do that now. She is on a fixed income and can't help. I feel stupid for being scared. Last night I decided to check his car for my wallet and he caught me. I asked him for my money back and he tried playing dumb. I told him my daughter saw it there. He told me she was lying. I told him I never told her about the money or what wallet. He said he was a grown man and kids lie all the time. I asked him once more for my money and he said, "I'm not giving you money to leave me." I waited until he was in the shower to grab my cat and my daughter, and we left. I can't take my cat with us to a shelter and the DV shelters are full. I was able to get us a night at a cheap motel. This exact situation is why I had money saved. I did everything right and now I'm screwed. I feel like I just blew up my entire life. Yes, I'm using a burner account and reading all the comments that I can. Relevant comments before update. The red flags are so obvious here. In my defense, the few odd accidents seemed like a genuine accident until the soup thing. It really freaked me out, and that is when I started thinking. Yeah, the soup incident is very shady. That is what made me start thinking about the other accidents and putting the pieces together. I thought I just watched too many true crime shows, but everyone's response confirmed I'm not just paranoid. In order to believe this, I have to think you're a moron. Like, I had to stop reading at the staircase incident. Have you ever accidentally stepped on your dog's foot? Were you trying to kill your dog? No. That is what I thought at the time. It was an accident. Several people accuse this of being obviously fake because events escalated too quickly, and why would she be posting on Reddit for advice? I'm not a character in an anonymous fucking story. I wasn't looking for advice, I was looking for confirmation. I wasn't paranoid. You bet your ass I left as soon as he said my daughter was lying. Fuck off! Update. My post got a lot of attention and my account was shadow banned for a few days. I was able to appeal and get my account back because I'm not a bot or some AI. Now for the update. The day after we left, he sent me a picture of my EPI pen and tried telling me it was in my nightstand the whole time. I tore that room apart looking for it, so I know for 100% fact it wasn't there. He took it. He tried getting me to come back, telling me I scared myself stupid and watched too many true crime TV. Something didn't feel right, so I told him to put my money and EPI pen in the mailbox. We went back and forth and he denied having my money. He then said, "If we broke up, you and Maria, my daughter, are no longer allowed in my apartment and will be treated like trespassers," and sent me a pic of his target practice sheets. I went to the police about the money and was told it was a civil issue. I was upset, but wanted the rest of my stuff, so I asked for an escort. Yesterday, I finally got an escort into the apartment with a cop and my landlord. He destroyed everything of my daughter's, and he ruined the laptop charger I use for work. No EPI pen. My daughter's medication and backup medical supplies were ruined. Our landlord let me off the lease without having to pay an early termination fee, which is great considering I have no money. Motels are expensive. I don't want to get rid of our cat. All shelters are full, and this is scary as shit. I'm sorry this is a shitty update, but I know people wanted it. Relevant comments before update. There has to be something that can be done about your daughter's meds. I'm beyond angry that nothing can be done. Insurance won't cover her medications or supplies until next month. She just got refills. I can get her meds, but I'll pay out of pocket. I have no money. Since I couldn't prove my money existed, I can't prove he stole it. I'm livid. Restraining order? Nope, not unless he gets physical with me. I should have let him hit me and I would have a lot more help available, which is so fucked up. Why are the police so useless? I wouldn't say useless. I did get a police escort to get the rest of my stuff. Update. My OP got a lot of attention, but then my account got shadow banned and was temporarily removed. I just updated 5 days ago, but this will be my final update because there is nothing anyone can do. I was encouraged to go back to the police station after my last update. On Saturday, December 9th, I went back again. This time, I printed out the threatening text messages that included the target practice sheets he sent. I explained in detail about the accidents proving he was trying to hurt me. And I even had my landlord put in writing that he believed our lives were in danger after seeing everything I was showing the police and let me leave my lease early. I brought in the destroyed medical supplies and medications. The police said they had already talked to him and said he didn't do any of it. He told them my daughter probably destroyed her stuff because she is special ed. She has very mild Asperger's but doesn't destroy things. Since it was his word against mine, they believed him. I didn't have proof he stole the money or that it even existed in the first place. I was told the EPI pen was my responsibility and they won't do anything if it's lost. I was told to let it go and acted like I was bothering the police with my petty civil issues. I am so defeated and angry. My daughter isn't going to have gifts for Christmas because I have to save for a new deposit on an apartment. We have been staying in motels while I was reaching out to DV resources. I can't get help without a restraining order/police report. Every place is out of funds. He is getting away with everything, and I'm so glad we got out because there is no doubt in my mind he would have gotten away with my murder. I know this sounds like my last update, but that is what happened. Nothing new, no justice, no repercussions for him. He gets to stay in the apartment. My landlord offered me another unit across town, but I can't afford to move in. This exact situation is why I had money stashed away because no one has ever cared about me. Us, and I knew that. There is nothing else I can do. Editor's note. OOP posted in another sub with the exact same information as above and no new update. However, she did add this clarification about shelters. All shelters are full. I found an organization who helps DV victims with housing, but only if you have a police report and a restraining order. I guess they are tired of victims going back to their partner, safety reasons or something. I was denied a restraining order because I had no proof. I'm scared, exhausted, and disappointed. Update. Title. I thought we were safe. A lot of people wanted an update, so here it is. On Christmas, he slashed my tires knowing I would have to pay out of pocket to replace them, which I don't have. Today, he threw a heavy patio chair through the window of the place we were staying at to let me know he knew where we were, and I was asked to leave for everyone's safety. Except my daughter and I aren't safe. I walked in the sleet, snow with my daughter and our cat, and I felt vulnerable and like open prey, so we came back to the police station to sit in the lobby until morning. Shelters are still full, and I now have to disclose that he is dangerous anywhere we go. Police couldn't find him, but I know he has to be close. I don't know what his endgame is. Relevant comments. Can police direct you to a DV shelter? The shelters here are full, so we are just sitting in the police station lobby. We are at least safe and warm, so I'm grateful for that. On donations. Donations aren't allowed here, and my post could get removed because of it. I'm trying to stay awake and really just venting. I'm so frustrated that he keeps getting away with this shit. Do you know how he keeps finding you? Have you checked for trackers? I honestly have no idea. He is supposed to have a new girlfriend too, so IDK why he is messing with me and destroying property. Reset your phone to factory settings. I got a cheap burner after we left. He doesn't have my number, nor have I used it to call anyone, so IDK how he is tracking me. You said he sent you a photo of the EPI pen after you left. How did he communicate that to you? He sent it through my email before I blocked it. Update. Title. I found the AirTag in the cat carrier. Please read my other posts for more context, but a TL.R, I'm pretty sure my ex is trying to kill me. There were a few instances that I wrote off as accidents, until I think he poisoned my soup that was specifically for me. On Christmas, he found where we were staying and slashed my tires and threw a heavy patio chair and planter through a window. He still hasn't been caught. I checked everywhere I could think of and still couldn't figure out how he was tracking us. I blocked him on everything, including email, after he sent me pics of his target practice sheets, among other things. I got a cheap burner phone. My daughter was out of school for winter break, so he didn't follow her or anything. I checked my car for a tracker. Still nothing. I do not have an iPhone, so I couldn't check whatever app an AirTag is attached to. My cat is harness trained and wears a collar, but there was no tracker. Until today, I decided to feel up. Sorry, only way I can describe it, the carrier. I ran my fingers over every inch of it and felt a bump on the bottom soft side. There was no new stitching or obvious cut. He had to use a seam ripper along the stitching. It was undetectable, and I almost missed it. He had to have had help because I've never seen him sew anything. Probably the same person who is letting him hide now. If his excuse for the AirTag was to track my cat, he would have put it on his collar or harness because that is what he would wear when we go on walks, car rides. My cat would never go in his carrier unless I was planning on leaving for more than a few days. I have no idea how long it has been there, nor do I know how far the tracker works, but now we aren't safe where we are. Again. I feel disgusting and I feel like hunted prey. This is so unnerving and I'm so uncomfortable. Who the fuck was I living with? Relevant. Comment. I'm sorry, but I don't find it believable that he tracked you with an AirTag. I don't know how AirTags work and didn't say that is how he is tracking me, just that I found one. It doesn't make sense how he knew where we were. Update. Title. I finally got the restraining order. I'm hoping this update will make everyone as happy as it makes me. I was finally granted the restraining order, and we get the keys to our new apartment on the 11th, a place I can afford monthly and comes partially furnished. It's in a super safe area right by my daughter's school. There is security. We will spend our time living in our car until then, and of course it has to be snowing, but we are together and we have our kitty. This nightmare is almost over. Update. Title. A restraining order didn't stop him. This morning he found me. I've been sick as hell, so after I dropped my daughter off at school, I went straight home. I didn't drive around to make sure no one was following me. I messed up. He broke my nose and shattered my orbital bone. He is in jail. Sorry for this update, y'all. Relevant comments. Staying in the hospital for the night, I was pretty sick before this happened. My daughter is with a friend for the night. My landlord fixed the door as best he could and told me my cat wasn't in the apartment, so I'm worried sick. I thought this was over. I'm so tired. I'm sure his mom will bail him out. Why can't he just move on? He took my money and my peace. What more can he take until he is satisfied? Commenter. Please pull your daughter out of her school and leave the state ASAP. Oop. I so wish I could do this, but we just moved into our new place. I should have just stayed with my mom. She lives in another state. But I didn't want to disrupt my daughter's life too much. I have $3 to my name, so I can't leave. You often can break leases without penalties in DV situations. My previous landlord let me out of my lease without a penalty, and my new one will too. I just can't afford to move. Update. Title. Not being able to move even if my life depends on it. I know the importance of having money saved, and I live within my means. How many of us is one disaster away from losing everything? A fire, job loss, a bank screw-up, a late paycheck, illness, or someone stealing from you? I had money saved because I knew that any one of those things could happen, and I wouldn't have anyone who could help me. And it did. 2 months ago, my ex tried poisoning me and stole the money I had saved. It's been hell since. I was able to break my lease and leave. I went to my mom's over Christmas break, but I came back because I didn't want to disrupt my daughter's schooling and I underestimated my ex. I was able to get an apartment through DV services very quickly, which was a miracle. I know how hard it is to find housing and then try to come up with all the deposits a new place needs. I did it, the cards fell in my favor. But then I fucked up. On Friday, I took my daughter to school and wasn't diligent. I will usually drive around to make sure I'm not being followed. To be honest, I started feeling crazy, paranoid, and angry I was wasting gas. Plus, I have pneumonia and strep that I haven't been able to pay for the antibiotics, so I just went home to my bed. He found me and broke my nose, shattered my orbital bone, and I have a concussion. I had a restraining order and he was arrested. I shared this on another sub and everyone telling me to move, leave, run. Except I can't do that. It's hard trying to explain that to people for them to understand because it sounds like excuses, like I like living in fear or something. I can't pull money out of thin air. My credit card is maxed. I contacted DV services at the hospital, and because I just got help, I can't get it again. The thing I didn't know about abusive men is that they don't just move on or stop. There are DV shelters, but they are full. I wish people would understand that I know how serious this is, but money doesn't grow on trees, even if a life depends on it. Relevant comments. Will your parents really not help you? I only have my mom who lives out of state. She is on a fixed income, so she can't help me. We could stay with her, but at this point, I'm out of luck and nothing worth a damn to sell. You need to disappear. Honestly, how? I'm not going to get anywhere on foot. Update. Title. He was with me to get to my daughter. It all makes sense now. If you need more context, please read my past posts. In my first post, I said how we had a normal relationship and he was never abusive, controlling, never raised his voice. The money that he ended up stealing was money I had hidden since before he even moved in. I was not hiding money to get away from him. I was not afraid of him. I lost my sister to DV and swore I'd never have that happen to me, only to end up in that exact situation. We didn't have this spectacular love that was filled with insane chemistry, nowhere near a love of my life situation, which is why I was so confused by how desperate he got. After he got arrested, his mom went on a social media rant because I got her baby locked up and knew we were sleeping in my car, so was telling her followers that if they find me to call her. Very bold and insane. One of my ex's friends saw this and commented, "IDK, if you should be sticking up for him, he needs serious help." I don't know how I caught it before it was deleted, but I reached out to him on my fake Facebook. Every time they were drinking, he would talk about her and then laugh it off. It made his friends uncomfortable, but they chalked it up to the booze. 2 weeks ago, when my daughter came to see me in the hospital, she was distraught. It made sense because I looked like hell, but she kept repeating over and over, asking me why he did this to me. I think there was more to this, and I'm frightened to my core. Remember, he stole my EPI pen and money, but he destroyed almost everything of hers, and I didn't understand it because she had nothing to do with the breakup. Why did he destroy her medicine? Why did he destroy her clothes? Fucking why? Don't abusers threaten their victim into not saying anything or something is going to happen to someone, something they love? I'm sick to my stomach even writing that out. I don't know where to go from here. How do I even begin a conversation about this with her? We are safe. I'm not worried about him finding us because he is still in jail, which is great because I'm out of money. He wasn't desperate and crazy because he was losing me. I think it was because of her. Update. Title. My ex is getting bailed out tomorrow. I'm so angry and scared. I wish I had faith in the justice system and with cops because they are supposed to protect, right? Except that isn't always the case. I'm tired of being hurt, and I'm tired of being scared. Anxiety is on 100. It's exhausting fearing my daughter and I's life. Update. Title. How can I feel safer at home? I know a lot of people are following my posts and will be disappointed in hearing that my ex was bailed out. I'm still healing from when he broke my nose and shattered my orbital bone. I know a restraining order is just a piece of paper because he ignored it when I was attacked, and the police aren't going to save me. For security, I only have a door bar that slides under the knob. I don't have a ring camera, and I can't buy a pew-pew until I have extra funds. He made me sell it a year ago because he was uncomfortable with it being in the house. Another red flag I missed. My question is, what can I do to feel safer that doesn't require money? Every night my daughter and I push the couch in front of the door, but I'm worried that if there is a fire, we can't get out. I have myself worried sick to the point of painful stomach ulcers. I tried talking to my nearest neighbor, but when I started explaining my situation and how it would be great if she could let me know if she sees anyone around my apartment, she got weirded out, which I get. Just looking for some peace of mind. Will that ever exist in my life again? Update. Title. AITAH. Or was this just a mistake? I know this is all I post about, and if you want more context, you can read my past posts. I feel like I need to tell someone what is happening so that it makes it feel real and that I'm not just upset and crazy for nothing. My ex got out on bail last week. My daughter and I already left the new apartment we had moved into after he attacked me. My daughter's school knows about my situation and knows I have a restraining order. Today, my daughter got a call from the front office at school. The secretary told her that the pickup car had changed from mine to a new car. She was being told this so that when school let out, she wouldn't get upset when she didn't see my car. The new car is the same one as my ex's. It is a rare car, color, and she told me she knew it was his car. She didn't say anything to the secretary or her teacher because she was instantly scared. It breaks my heart that she was in fear because she thought he had got me and was going to get her. She was given the message hours before school let out, so she spent all that time worrying. The last 10 minutes of the day is when the kids can use the bathroom and clean up. She started crying in front of her whole class, and when the bell rang, she refused to leave her classroom. I was in the carpool line when I got the call from her teacher. I have never seen her so upset, and that is saying a lot because she was so upset when she visited me in the hospital. Face beet red, hyperventilating, snot everywhere. She had cried so hard she got a nosebleed. After they told me what happened, I was livid. It all sounded like bullshit, because the secretary never should have relayed the message without talking to me first, since she said it was a male on the phone. As soon as the secretary looked my daughter up to find out which room to call, she should have seen the message I thought I had, saying no one should ever pick her up but me. No information should ever be released. He was never in contact with her, so it's not that big of a deal. It was a mistake, is what they told me. All he had to give was her full name and what grade she was in to get a message to her. They said that to me with a straight face while the bruises he gave me were very visible, proving he is a violent man. I'm so fucking angry. She told me she knew I didn't get a new car because as much as I try to hide it from her, she knows I'm broke. She thought she was going to have to go with him. She has been so traumatized and I don't know what to do. She wants to switch to e-learning, but since it's not a medical reason and not a school-wide restriction, I would have to pay to rent the laptop, which I obviously can't. The school is calling it an innocent mistake and didn't even apologize. I know I'm the only one responsible for my daughter and I's safety, but damn, if people could stop jeopardizing it like it's nothing and then acting like I'm the asshole for being upset because it was a mistake. He wasn't there after school, but he could have. Editor's note. Some people commented on the first Baru that OOP's ex was a police officer. However, I can't find anything in OOP's posts or comments that confirms this, nor has she said anything about it. Nothing shows up when checking deleted comments either. It's definitely possible, but I just wanted to address it here since it was brought up so often. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.